to do these?
It takes about between 25 and 30 days. And what I have learned over the years is that when I start polishing a batch, if you go any longer than 4 days in the coarse sand, you're wasting time. After the tumbler has run for 4 days, sand and water and rocks, the sand has done all it can possibly do. I stop my tumbler, wash it out, put the rocks back in, and I take coarse sand a second time and run it 4 days. Then the next time, when I stop it, I wash it out, put the rocks back, and then I put a finer sand. I run it for about 4 days. Stop it, clean it out, put the rocks back in, and I use a mixture of kitty litter and fine carborundum. And I'll run it about 5 days. And then I wash it out, put the rocks back in, and I'll run it for about 6 days in cerium oxide. The cerium oxide looks like talcum powder, but it's designed to put a shine on the rocks. Run about 6 days in that, and then I stop it, clean it out, salvage my cerium oxide because you can reuse it. And then I put the rocks back in and run it about 3, 4, maybe 5 days, 3 or 4 days usually, in shampoo. And it gives them an extra shine. So a total of somewhere between 25 and 28, 30 days, somewhere in that area. But the shampoo actually adds another layer of shine to the rocks. What goes in the tumbler is very important. Selection of the raw material, the agates, rocks, is very critical because what goes in determines what comes out. I met a man on the beach here from Ferndale a few years ago. And when he found out that I built tumblers, I built the table, I built the drum, I built it all, and polished rocks, he got real interested and he said, could I come and see your system, your operation? I said, sure. He came up and he looked at my polished rocks. Here's a sample of the finished product here. And he looked at them and he said, my rocks don't turn out as good as yours. I wonder why. And I said, well, where do you get your rocks? And he said, Agate Beach. I said, well, that's where I get mine. I said, how long do you polish them? He said, about a month. I said, so do I. I said, how many grits? He said, 4. I said, coarse, medium, fine, and polished. Yep. That's how many I use, well, plus shampoo. And I said, there's one other variable. Have you ever heard that you cannot make a silk handkerchief out of a sow's ear? He said, yeah. I said, apply that to your rocks. Here again, what goes in here determines what comes out. You would never, never, never put a bunch of rocks like this in your tumbler and expect to get anything good out of it. Here, these have been sorted through. These, if you notice, they all have one thing in common. They are smooth as can be. That's ready to go in a tumbler. All of these are ready. So what goes in there is most important in order to get a finished product like this. Okay? Also, these rocks that I said would not polish, they must be smooth. Like if you feel like you could strike a match on it, it's probably not a good idea to put it in the tumbler because it is not going to turn out good. And all of these inclusions in here, there's no way that grit or anything could get down in there and polish. They're going to be ugly forever. I mean, you wouldn't think of putting something like this in your tumbler. They need to be that smooth or like that. before you think about putting them in your tumbler. Okay, this rock I found a few days ago. This one I found a few years ago. This one has been through my tumbler. This one I just found, but when this one is polished, it'll take roughly a month in my tumbler. It will be as pretty and shiny as this one here. You can see the difference. But a rock, in order to polish good and take a shine like this, it really needs to be this smooth before it goes in your tumbler. So everything that goes in my tumbler, I give them the feel test. If it's not that smooth, it goes into my rock garden. And can you pan over here to see, those are culls. Everything you see there are culls. A lot of those will polish, but those are my culls for whatever reason. And it takes about a month to get it from this to this. And that one, would you rather have the shinier one? Here's a white one. That's a lot of excellent quality quartz in this one. It tried to become agate and didn't quite make it. Up until now, I have talked about polishing rocks using coarse sand, medium sand, kitty litter, cerium oxide, and then I use shampoo just to clean them up and put another layer of shine on them. But there is another way to polish rocks by using commercial grits. You use coarse carborundum, has the consistency of salt or sugar, fine carborundum, and then powdered carborundum, which is very fine, and then your cerium oxide, and then shampoo. You can get these from a company called Lortone. That's L-O-R-T-O-N-E. I think they're in Seattle, if I'm not mistaken. You can find them on the internet if nowhere else. But if you can zero in with the camera, these are all polished. These are all polished. These are polished. These are unpolished. This is polished and unpolished petrified wood. This is blue California jadeite, polished, unpolished. And this is black jadeite, polished, unpolished. When this is polished, it'll be shiny like that. This is Trinidad jasper, found near Trinidad, California, polished, unpolished. And then this is petrified wood that's unpolished. And then here's some pieces that are polished. You can see how much they shine. Here's one half agate and half petrified wood. And more petrified wood here, petrified wood here. It petrified under conditions of extreme heat and lack of oxygen. This one caught fire, burned a while, ran out of oxygen, then petrified. Here's agate. This is banded somewhat, agate. More Trinidad jasper, here and here, here. Beautiful. And then here's some jade off of the same beach. If you held it up to the light, it lets a lot of light through, but that's good quality jade as opposed to the jadeite. All of these over here have been polished. Takes 1 month from start to finish to get them from this state over here, unpolished, to this state over here or here. And it's a hobby that I have, and I enjoy it. Keeps me busy and young.